sorry we weren't able to get.
Yes.
Anyway, 7 p.m. I would like to welcome everybody to the November 9th Committee of the Whole meeting. We have a small agenda. Everybody please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We just got one attendee.
Roll call, please.
I'll give it back.
Bill Carlos, second ward.
Thank you.
Joe Conti, third ward.
Joseph Lepore, fifth ward.
Ann Shershin, 6th Ward.
John Basley, Deputy Supervisor.
Alicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Oh, pardon me, Jim Nelson, attorney for the town.
Okay. The first two things we have on the agenda are presentation from Mr. Fink on re-levying water, sewer, miscellaneous charges, and a virtual server and virtual desktop upgrade plan. Mr. Fink, it's all yours, sir.
Okay. Not used to being on this side of the camera. Tomorrow, we need to send the file into the county for the re-levy. So I wanted to give you all a chance if you had any questions about that. The totals for water, $291,089.25. The sewer amount was $196,569.50. And then there's a third category called other. That's where we have things such as lawn maintenance, repairs, anything that the clerk's office uses for advertising. That came to $8,975.71. Total for all three of those is $496,634.46. Less than last year.
Mark, on the third one, do you know how they're broken down or no?
There, well, some came from Wayne in the building department. So there's three categories, from zoning department for any lawn maintenance, clerk's department for advertising, and the building department for any violations or any work that they had to do. I think boarding up some buildings, and I don't know the details,
Right.
but I can get that to you if you'd like.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Mine couldn't have been more than $200
All right.
for the total. Around there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
yours
top
is
of my-
definitely the smallest
smaller
of the three.
Yeah.
If you're interested, it was almost just under $10,000 less for the, quote, other charges than last year. So I guess that's a good sign that not so many abandoned houses that we have to take care of anymore. So,
That's what I was getting. We're only doing, I think, 12 now.
yeah. Okay.
Anybody got any questions on any of the levy fees?
We'll give mention that Sue Reifler in the water department did the re-levy all by herself this year and didn't need any assistance from me. So great job on that.
Yes.
All right, for the second item, we have been working on well over a year upgrading to a virtual desktop environment. We have been running in a virtual server environment for several years now. A virtual server environment, instead of having one server that physically manages this task, another physical server for that one, and another for that, you have them all grouped together into a single unit, and you can allocate memory, CPU, hard drive storage dynamically as you need them. So if one server requires more space, you can just, within minutes, just add more space to it from a shared pool. With the virtual desktop, the plan is that you no longer have a desktop that's running on a PC on your desk. It's actually running on server. It's kind of coming full circle to the old days of the mainframe and the dumb terminal. But it's a full Windows client. To the end user, it looks just like their Windows desktop. But it can be centrally managed if there's updates to the operating system, new versions of Office, new printers that come out, any kind of updates. We apply that to a handful of master images, and then the next morning or the next time people log on, everything is just there. So it's dynamically deployed. It also gives them an added level of security, because when you sign on as a user, it spins up a fresh instance of your Windows desktop. If for some reason you get through all the antivirus and all the other programs that keep us safe and you get hit with the virus, you shut down, that virtual copy gets destroyed and thrown out, and you log back on and it's a fresh copy. So there's no persistent state where you can get an infection or malware that will stay with you. So it's an added level of security as well.
What about from the outside in to protect all those departments? Obviously, there is a firewall for just the network or just individual departments?
There's a firewall that the servers all sit behind already, so we're protected from the outside in that respect. What we can do with this, though, is if somebody's traveling and they want to have access to their desktop, there's a website that they go to. It's a secured website, so and password secured. It's HTTPS, so it's the same level of security as your banking. They log on, and it's basically just a program. It's an app that we put on their computer, and their work desktop shows up on whatever computer they're on. That's handy if there's a really bad snowstorm or if there's some other problem where you can't physically get into work. You can just fire this up and get emergency work done if you need to.
And Mark, as far as password, how would you individually put a password to each department by, because let's say someone doesn't no longer work here, will you change the entire password for the entire network, or you just do it individually by each department?
It's not by department, it's by individual user. Each user has their own unique ID for their login and a password, and we're on a 60-day schedule where you have to change that password. Mm-hmm. We've made it more, as some of the users can attest to, it's more it's a tougher password, and we keep track of 4 passwords. You can't just bounce back and forth between 2 of them. So we've added quite a bit of complexity to the password so that it's more secure. Yeah. Once somebody leaves the employment, we disable their account so that they can't log on anymore. I keep the account for a while just as a transition because sometimes you have to move files over from one employee to another or move them up to the department head.
Yeah. And my last question to you is that, is there any way each department can share the files? In other words, the assessor look at the billing department or vice versa? Is that so people know if someone paid for the taxes or paid for the billing permit? Is there anything we could do for that, or just it's our?
There's a couple different ways we can do that. For just files like word processing, Excel spreadsheets, things like that, we have a directory set up where there's 3 levels of permissions. You have what we call the H or home directory that only you as a user have access to.
Gotcha.
We have the G drive, which is for the group level, so only the people in your department has access. And then we have on one other level that anyone in the town, any employee has access to read and write. So it depends on who needs to see what. You put it in the different folder that's appropriate.
That's good. Thank you, Mark.
Beyond that, though, for items like, if somebody's paid taxes or whatever, we don't do taxes in Munis. We have the SCA software. Right now, only the tax department has access to that.
That's what I was going to ask. If I were home, would I be able to see my BAS on my desktop?
Yes, you could, because we can dynamically, based on the individual user logging on, we can slide in the applications that you have access to based on your permissions. So it's just like you're sitting at your desk.
Permission by supervisor, correct? Because we don't want people at home look at,
Well, they would have to know the password.
Yeah.
Oh, only for town employees,
Okay,
right? Yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Felicia would be able to see the programs that she'd normally see when she's sitting at her desk.
Yep.
Because it's the same process. It's just whether it's
I like the idea of no more desktop on your desk. You'll have more room for paper now.
right.
Hopefully we're going to get rid of the paper, Joe.
Yes. So it's the new generation of not having this huge computer anymore on the desk.
Exactly.
They're tiny. I'm sure.
They're
the
about
size
that
of a phone. Yeah.
Yeah, size of a paperback novel.
Yeah.
We are coming towards the end of the lifespan of the Dell computers that we've had, some of them for
10 years.
15.
Yeah.
coming up on 10 years.
I think I have an old IBM.
Yeah.
one or two.
Might be worth
You
money
have a Dell,
someday.
yeah. But
I have a Dell, but.
they have lasted a tremendously long time. We've certainly gotten our money's worth out of them.
Yeah.
But as those start to die off, we'll be able to replace them with these just little units that will do the job.
And I think they're cheaper than the old.
It is less expensive, definitely, and if there's a problem with it, we have a couple spares on hand. If the smoke comes out for whatever reason, you just swap it out, put another one in a couple minutes, they're up and running again. So those are the two projects that we've been working on, and we were able to bring the two together into this one overall combined system where we can house both the virtual server and the virtual desktop into one set of hardware. At the same time, next year, our existing virtual server hardware is coming to end of life. Doesn't mean it's going to just stop working, but it's not going to have the same day support, warranty contract, and all that. So what we're going to do is move the equipment that's downstairs to the police department and then put the new equipment here. And what is in the police department will be a backup mirrored setup. So they'll be communicating and synchronizing. I don't know if it's going to be exactly real time. It depends on how much data is going back and forth and how much bandwidth we have. But it's a disaster recovery site so that in the event of a catastrophic issue, we're up and running within a couple hours at most, if not sooner. And then the third component is the courtroom server is overdue for being replaced. So rather than buying another physical server for them, they will be hosted on the server system over at police, making their server more physically secure as well because it'll be in the server room at the police department. Let's see. We're planning on doing this as a 5-year lease. And the total for all the hardware, and these are all state contract prices, we're going to have a hard drive array, which is, they're all just boxes. With hard drives in it, we can add more storage if we need to, but we're planning on having enough storage to meet our needs, but it does have flexibility. We have 2 master servers, physical servers, so if one of them fails, they have redundancy right within that system there, as well as the redundancy on the other location. Adding some battery backups as well, some network switching because we're going to be moving some of that equipment to police. The total price tag is just over $174,000. So it's a significant investment, but what it gives us in not only redundancy, performance, safety, and security is, I feel, more than worth it.
It's not cheap.
No, it's not.
What about any license to the software? Does it come
Yes,
with?
that's all included as well. That's enough licenses for each individual to have the virtual desktop software, as well as all the operating system licenses. Everything that we need to do, start to finish, is included in that, as well as all the time and setting up the new system, moving the old system over there, and doing the migration and synchronization. So it's a full package. Everything's rolled into that.
Mark, what company are we using, supposed to be using?
Computer systems integrators. They're our network support people we've been working with since before I got here. Highly skilled. They know their stuff. They use a virtual server system for their offices as well as virtual desktops. Several of the other clients that they support are on the same systems as well. It's, as you said, it's the direction that everyone's going in because it gives you so much more
Is
security.
this iCloud based?
No, it's all going to be stored. All the storage is local here. So the downside, I feel, of cloud storage, if you lose your internet,
Yeah.
you lose your data. Here, if we lose our internet, all of our data is downstairs in the
yeah.
server.
Anybody, any other questions?
Yeah, as far as the replacing servers, what happened to the old server? Do we sell them back? How does it work with the?
The old Dell servers we have downstairs still. I'm actually using one of them as a backup for backup software. So we are still using one of them, and we just had a hard drive fail on that. So we had 2 of the older servers, and I just pulled one drive out of that and popped it in. So it's the market value on that is really low. We're better off holding on to it as spare parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, are there other companies out there like, I know we have a long-standing history with this company. Are there other companies that are competitive in nature to this company and would want to have a chance to compete, to see if maybe they've got something that they can show us that has the same features, advantages and benefits of that company, but maybe at a lower price, or did you already do your research on it?
Well, because everything's state contract pricing, there's not
Are
much
they
that they
the
can
only ones
do.
on the state contract?
No, we actually, the comptroller, Charlie, has all the pricing, all the details without the pricing, and he's going to approach a couple other companies just to see if there is something else better out there. But the track record that Computer Systems Integrators has is just it's
Good.
fantastic.
We want to
Yeah.
hear it. It's good to know that we'll look at a couple other companies. If there's a major difference, we can take a closer look at it. But with small dollars, we know the company well. I wouldn't
Absolutely.
have a problem staying with it,
Yeah, the issue with that, Joe, too, sometimes is that is the company you feel comfortable by changing a different IT company. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of starting a lower back. Yeah,
Yeah, change from one
yeah.
point of sale service to another. Tough.
It takes yeah. But,
Yeah, really.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for all the questions.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Hopefully this puts us in a better position, Mark.
Every day we try to get a little bit better.
Yeah, thanks for all you do. Thank you.
All right, all we have left are committee reports. Finance, we have nothing to report. Fire advisory,
I have nothing to report.
government operations.
Yes, I attended the New York State Sustainability Conference, and it was very interesting. They're looking at long-term, continuing actually to continue to increase local sites, that people do more locally and have less things brought in and try to develop what's here. And it was very interesting. I attended the one conference which was on zombie houses and what they're doing to flip zombie houses and using artist lofts to revitalize areas. And then I went to the other conference which was about energy management and looking into basically solar farms and other means to generate energy so that we're not always relying on fossil fuels. So it was really interesting.
I don't think there's really zombies, but
No, they're not real zombies.
It's Halloween season, yes.
Could be.
I had to do it.
Now you're going to see the resident.
Land use and planning, sir.
Nothing to report.
Personnel,
Nothing to report.
recreation and seniors, nothing new to report. Technology and equipment,
Nothing to report.
water, sewer, and highway.
Nothing to report.
We've come to the end of our meeting. We make a motion to suspend the rules for any public comment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Marlene, or does anybody have anything to say?
Yeah, I was going to say she's probably exhausted.
Take a nap then. Your motion to resume the rules?
Second.
So
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Carlos.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby adjourn to executive session to consider the following matters, to wit, litigation, to discuss litigation strategy of the case known as New Hamburg Terminal. And be it further resolved, there will be no action appropriating money. So moved.
Second.
A motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. We're in executive session at
7:25.
7:25.
If we close, lock the door.